Jenson Button's a winner again. It's Sebastian Vettel. Barrichello versus Button.
We are world champions!
2009. It came and went in a blur. Jenson's glorious season is a lot to live up to, but Formula One has an uncanny knack of raising the bar, and expectations for 2010 are higher than ever for very good reasons.
I'm so excited because this could be an amazing season, and if it's not, we're doing something seriously wrong.
3 new teams joined Formula One.
Lotus, Virgin, and of course the Hispania team.
This year there's no refuelling. Big difference. We haven't seen that since 1993.
Well, one of the big changes was the point system.
You've got to go for the victory.
What I'm really excited about for this year is the fact we've got 4 world champions out there on the grid.
4 world champions on the grid.
All in top cars with a real chance of victory.
Alonso with Ferrari for the first time, double world champion.
He looks really hot out on track.
A lot of people's favourites.
I think it's a very interesting season. I'm looking forward.
Jenson Button, the reigning world champion, moves to McLaren.
Big speculation in Britain, it's a huge source of excitement.
A bold move into Lewis Hamilton's backyard.
And that's his team. He's been part of the DNA of that team for 10 years.
Button wants to show that he's a worthy world champion. He's the top grip.
This season could be one of the best seasons.
But the daddy of them all, Michael Schumacher, makes his return.
He's 41 years old. Has he still got what it takes?
Can he deliver? Can he add an 8th world title?
Was it the right thing to do? Who knows? He thinks it's the right thing to do, and he could be right there in the mix to be the champion.
Top driver, so closer competition.
We mustn't forget Felipe Massa coming back from his accident in Hungary last year. Obviously got a point to prove. Mark Webber in at Red Bull. Sebastian Vettel, who almost won the title, came very close last season.
It looks very tight at the top. A tough fight. Only one can win.
New teams, new drivers, but in Formula One, some things always stay the same. Winning is everything.
What a season this is going to be.
I haven't been this excited since late 80s, early 90s when we had the sort of Mansells, Piquets, Prost, Senna's. It's just going to be a titanic battle for the championship.
This has everything. Mouth-watering stuff. I can't wait for it to start.
Red Bull Racing were just as eager for 2010 to get underway. The pit stops had to be perfect, just like the end of the previous season. In the final 3 races of 2009, they were the team to beat with 3 successive victories, although of course it was too little, too late for the title. Sebastian Vettel remained behind the wheel, as did his Australian teammate Mark Webber. And then, of course, there was the design guru Adrian Newey overseeing the car. And the team started as they meant to go on, taking the first pole of the new year.
Here comes Vettel then for Red Bull. What a time there for Sebastian Vettel. Yeah! These very nervy moments, they always are at the start of a Formula One season. And we're away now in 2010. It's Vettel from Massa, from Alonso. My word, Vettel has just gone a second faster than Fernando Alonso.
This kid's the real deal, make no mistake about that.
And a lot of power, lots of power.
It's sick, I tell you what, that Red Bull's sick.
Rocky, can you do anything to fix it?
Negative, it's mechanical,
The race was unfolding for Red Bull. After starting on pole, Vettel was slipping back due to those familiar reliability issues. And an equally familiar face took full advantage, Fernando Alonso. Double world champion in 2005 and 2006, he didn't settle at McLaren and then returned to an uncompetitive Renault before getting his dream move to the most famous team of all.
Fernando Alonso, it's his first race for Ferrari, and he's a winner in Bahrain.
So despair for Sebastian Vettel, but delight for Fernando Alonso.
Winning a Grand Prix is special. Winning the first Grand Prix of the season is special, and winning for Ferrari first race is special.
It's a pity, but you know, what can you do? I think all in all there is only positive, except the failure this weekend.
For the established F1 teams, Bahrain signalled the start of a long road ahead, but for some, simply making it to race 1 was a victory in itself. 2010 was the season that Formula One took down its barriers and welcomed 3 new teams into the exclusive club. Lotus arrived with a lot of history and F1 experience to its name, but it was very much a new team, hoping to recapture some of its former glory.
That story of just 4 of us in there on day 1 is entirely true, with Sylvie answering the phone on reception. I'll put you through to HR, sort of let the phone go and then go, hello, it's HR.
Virgin was another team doing its learning in front of millions.
My wheel came off, front left wheel came off.
We had nothing to start with at all, not a spanner, not a drain tray, nothing. We had to start completely from scratch, and it's been very tough, but you know, we like a challenge.
Hispania had the biggest battle, arriving in Bahrain with no testing, and Karun Chandok having never even turned a wheel before qualifying.
Every time we thought we could get the car out, some other little problem cropped up, and even in qualifying, you know, I remember seeing the light go green and I was still climbing into the car on a footstool, and I could feel them putting the floor back onto the car underneath me. You know, it was that late.
We started with no testing, which was quite a special fact for any Formula One team in history, for sure.
I'd have my toes crossed, my fingers crossed, and my lucky underwear on.
It's quite an experience. I don't think I'd want to repeat that.
Lotus had a promising start to their season, with both drivers reaching the checkered flag.
We've seen that we can finish races, and obviously we have to build up from there. We have a lot of work to do, that's pretty clear, but we knew that, and it's a challenge.
For the other new teams, though, it was a real baptism of fire, with all cars retiring. It was clear it was going to be a long, tough season ahead.
So as the sun set over the desert in Bahrain, it was celebrations for some, but an otherwise underwhelming first race of 2010.
A lot of people were ready to write Formula One off after the Bahrain Grand Prix. I mean, I love Formula One, I enjoy every race, and I didn't have a problem with it. Everyone was, oh, it's rubbish, and we've got to change everything. But of course, by the next race, everything was fine again.
Bahrain didn't necessarily deliver. Is Melbourne going to get us back on the right track when the lights go out? Lights will guide you home, and I will try to fix you. Vettel's away, gingerly but ahead. There's a spin there with that Alonso there facing the wrong way. Drama already here in Melbourne.
Hamilton coming at the inside of Button.
I didn't feel that I was quite ready for the first race in terms of understanding the car, but the second race in Australia I felt pretty good with my surroundings.
Slicks for Button, he's the first man to get brave.
When I put slick tyres on and drove out the pit, I was thinking, it's a little bit wetter than I remember. Braked for turn 3 and everything just locked up and went straight on.
And that's a real problem seemingly for Jenson, but has he gone too soon?
Well, I did that on purpose. I stayed off the circuit on purpose so that nobody else put slick tyres on.
Button's just set the fastest lap. It's almost 5 seconds faster than anyone else. Webber now boldly coming through. Hamilton's come past as well. Oh, Webber's got off. Sebastian Vettel is out. Jenson Button is now leading. There's been a collision. It's Hamilton and Webber.
So boring, this Formula One. That's what I hate about it most.
It's just fantastic fantastic race by Jenson. In truth, he called that first stop and that got him the win.
To win it with my second race with a new team was exceptional and a very special feeling. You know, it wasn't just about outright speed; it was about choosing the right strategy and thinking on your feet. And it was a great win because of that.
And not the first of Jenson's career. He started in Formula One at the turn of the century, and after driving for Williams, Benetton, Renault and BAR, he finally won his first race back in 2006 at the Hungaroring, and 3 years later, of course, was crowned Formula One World Champion. Race 3 of the season took us to Malaysia, where the big names were humbled in a soaking wet qualifying session, a difficult time for McLaren and for Ferrari as well. However, Red Bull got it just right all weekend, and after 2 hard races, it finally came together for a team proving they were super quick.
The checkered flag falls, Sebastian Vettel wins, it's a 1-2 for Red Bull.
It's ominous to think he could have won all 3 races so far, isn't it?
So Sebastian enjoyed that winning feeling again at just 23 years of age. The young Red Bull driver, who started with the team when he was just 12 years old, had his most famous moment in 2008, winning in the unfancied Toro Rosso. He had a famous crash into the back of his now teammate Mark Webber, and he was hoping 2010 would be remembered for him becoming the youngest ever world champion. A belief that was enhanced when Red Bull dominated race 4's qualifying session in China, but McLaren were ready to push them hard. In fact, Fernando Alonso pushed too hard.
Jump start for Alonso, there's no doubt about it. Alonso jumped the start.
So for that misdemeanour, Fernando Alonso incurred a penalty, but no such headaches for McLaren as the rain started to fall. They dominated to a really special 1-2 finish in Shanghai.
It's a McLaren 1-2. Jenson Button has won 2 of the 4 races this season, and Lewis Hamilton has had 2 podium finishes.
So much to McLaren's delight, Jenson took his second win. However, alongside him pushing hard was a man hunting title number 2. Lewis Hamilton approached McLaren as a 10-year-old, declaring a desire to drive for them, and in 2007 got his wish. In 2008 he was crowned Formula One World Champion. In 2010, could the man in form deliver a second world title?
Lewis was tremendous in the early part of the season. Over 30 competitive overtakes. He's so confident behind the wheel. He's so exciting to watch. He's been in contention for 3 of his 4 Formula One seasons.
Brilliant, but only sitting 4th after 4 races. Jenson led the way with Fernando Alonso 3rd and the Red Bulls 5th and 8th.
In the cold and grey German winter, part of Formula One's history was coming out of hibernation. One of the most successful teams in the history of the sport would return to the track, and that reawakening was enough to stir one of the most famous sportsmen in the world.
It's a nice start for a comeback in many senses. Because I have proven everything that is to be proven in this segment, the nature is that I'm just there to enjoy and have fun. And the most fun I have is if I win.
Which is it has such a great history. Walking through the factory here, it's amazing to see all the cars that they've built in the past years.
Mercedes last won the World Championship in 1955 with the legendary Fangio. The team they bought was Braun, who won both titles in 2009.
This is wonderful. Considering a year ago we didn't know we had a team, and 12 months on we've won the World Championships, and we're now part of Mercedes-Benz return to Grand Prix racing, which I think is great for us as a team, but great for the sport as well.
Schumacher claimed he was back to have some fun and ultimately to win, but it looked like neither of those would be achieved at the beginning of the season. Nico Rosberg had little regard for reputation and was convincingly quicker than the 7-time world champion as he struggled to find his feet after 3 years away from the sport.
Look at that, he's coming underneath
He's coming back
him.
at Michael Schumacher.
Championship.
Extraordinary.
Mercedes got the first podium of their comeback in Malaysia, and the feat was repeated 2 weeks later in China. They were courtesy of Rosberg, whilst the more experienced German battled hard but without similar results. The superstar may have returned, but Michael Schumacher was in for one of the toughest seasons of his career.
So Schumacher was struggling whilst a fellow elder statesman was having the year of his life. Despite making his debut in 2002, it took until 2009 for Mark Webber to take his first win. Mark Webber was really starting to fly as F1 arrived in Spain.
We're underway now, and the Red Bull start first, all going to plan for Red Bull.
That's his best ever drive, isn't it?
A special day for Mark Webber. It's Mark Webber still leading.
I mean, everything just went my way today.
That's Lewis Hamilton's gone off. Lewis Hamilton's lost it. Mark Webber wins for the first time in 2010.
A special day for me to capitalise on the pole position.
Never won 2 races back-to-back, Mark Webber, but he's done 2 poles in a row, and he's away now in Monaco and makes a good start. Jenson Button stopping. The championship leader is out of the race. Another fastest lap for Mark Webber.
The greatest of my life, I suppose.
It's just in an absolute class of his own.
To join the likes of Ayrton Senna and those guys around here is a real challenge.
Left them all for dead.
A few laps to go. It looks like the track is actually narrowing. It looks like the barriers are coming closer and closer and closer.
It's a winning weekend for the Australian. He's done it.
Amazing. To get the maximum amount of points, he used to say, in the last 2 races.
Mark Webber has really stepped up his game. No one really gave him a good chance of winning the championship.
So 2 successive wins meant Mark Webber was the new championship leader with 50 points from 2 races. It also meant his team led the way as Red Bull knocked McLaren off the top in the constructors' battle. So 2 wins, a big haul of points, and it was all promised to his 2 dogs back at home, as Eddie Jordan found out.
I knew that we just needed to execute some clean Sundays. The team's had some incredible potential, as we know, but to get both 4 days right, obviously with quali and both races, was really rewarding. So yeah, a bit of a surprise, but a nice one.
A lot of people will recall the race at Monaco, not just because of your win and the 1-2, but the excitement and the fun slinging everybody into the pool. It's not really many teams can get away with that.
No, you're right. You know, the pool's been there for years, obviously, the Red Bull Energy Station at Monaco. And, you know, they got us all up there in the end, and everyone was just having a great time and unwinding and celebrating. So, you know, what was really hilarious was obviously after we got out of there, you know, in our race suits, and we got forced over into the corner of the motorhome, and obviously we're quite a long way up. And basically Seb and I were going, well, how are we going to get off this thing? Seb basically said, well, there's only one way we're going to go. We're going to have to just go straight off the edge into the ocean.
Oh, incredible day. Absolutely incredible day. And look, you know, Red Bull haven't been around for long. People forget, you know, 3 or 4 years ago they were saying we were the laughing stock, you know, so it's a great sports story.
It's not easy to slip unnoticed into the piercing world of Formula One, especially when your product is all about delivering a kick, and your company image is the beast that wreaks havoc in China shops. But for almost a decade and a half, Red Bull lay like sleepers in Grand Prix racing. Deep-rooted, but dormant. Powerful, but patient. There were the Sauber years, with no prizes to show. The sleepers slept. In 2004, a for sale sign went up over Jaguar Racing, and the bull stirred and pawed the ground. The network spread. Not just one team now, but 2. The designs were now grand. Adrian Newey took his place at the technical end, and David Coulthard sat behind the wheel. Was this the moment? Not yet. In 2008, Coulthard retired, and in 2009, the team of Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber slid into the RB5, and the beast lowered its head and locked its horns.
It's Red Bull on a charge!
Beef against brawn.
Jenson Button's run is over!
Second place in the Drivers' Championship, second in the Constructors. And now in 2010, the sleepers sleep no more.
However, in Turkey, the sleepers had a rude awakening.
Red Bull is a relatively new team. I think they've made mistakes. They're the fastest car on the track, and they didn't manage their two drivers who are very different in character, neither of whom will yield at any time.
Up until that 40, we'd done everything right.
We're underway at Istanbul Park. The two leading cars, Webber and Hamilton.
We've got Mark back out in the lead ahead of Lewis. We've managed to jump Lewis at the stop with Sebastian as well.
We're back with a 1-2 for Red Bull.
Until that 40, everything was looking good.
Dive down on the inside, had the corner, was on the left.
And then all of a sudden, Seb comes to the right pretty fast.
I was just trying to focus on the braking point, and all of a sudden I lost the car.
We were obviously wheel to wheel at that point.
I remember I was talking at that point, and I just went silent.
Boom.
Oh dear, they've come together! Webber and Vettel have come together. What was going on there? Through goes Jenson Button, ahead goes Lewis Hamilton.
Neither yielded, and the result is everybody loses.
I'm not the kind of guy that pushes all the fault to one guy. We are a team in the end of the day.
You know, if we did it again, obviously I don't think I would do a massive amount different from my side. There would probably be a difference of opinion until we go to our graves.
I blame Vettel on that occasion. It seemed to me as if he moved into Mark Webber a little bit, but whatever happened, Vettel was out of the race and Webber failed to win.
The outcome of that was much more damaging in some respects than the actual incident itself, because what it did was sort of momentarily split the team.
Obviously at that time I was the leading car, so usually the leader then dictates where to go.
My opinion hasn't changed too much, after the race. You can say whose fault was it? Well, we went down there, it was close, we touched, Seb moved across a bit, okay, that's what happened.
I think the Red Bulls gave us the 1-2. They made life a lot easier for us.
The charging Red Bulls may have handed a welcome 1-2 to McLaren, but Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button were at the centre of an almost identical on-track incident.
And Lewis, we need you to save fuel. Both cars doing the same.
He exited turn 8 quite slow, and so I had to go run the outside into 12. Why not?
And look at this. Button fancies a run.
It's the same place where the two Red Bulls went together.
I wasn't really too happy. I didn't really fully understand what the hell just went on, because next thing I knew, Jenson was past me.
Button's still there and he's got the lead.
It was a fun move. We were side by side for 3 corners, but the problem was I got a bad exit onto the straight.
Button overtakes Hamilton, but he's coming back on the pit straight. Down towards the first corner. Oh, they almost came together then, didn't they?
I think they did touch, didn't they?
And Hamilton's back in front.
Okay, Jenson, we need more fuel saving. Fuel is critical.
Conserving fuel isn't a secret code for don't race each other.
Well, if it is, nobody told me.
Looking back, it was a great battle. Me and Jenson, we finished 1-2. It was a great weekend for the team.
It's the first time win for Lewis Hamilton in 2010, and Jenson Button makes it the McLaren 1-2.
Montreal. I remember when I had my first qualifying pole position there, and I remember exactly at what point of the lap I was told that I got pole position and the feeling that I had, and it was the same feeling then that weekend.
Look at Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton has found something. Now onto the pit straight, and he's absolutely charging for it. Lewis Hamilton knows the time to beat, and he's done it! And the first time this season that Red Bulls have been knocked off their perch.
Okay, Lewis, we need you to stop on the circuit. There's not enough fuel and we need to have a fuel sample.
And I had to stop and I had to push the car back.
He's been in contention for 3 of his 4 Formula 1 seasons, and that tells you everything you need to know about how brilliant Lewis is at the wheel.
Only one driver has won from pole this season. Lewis Hamilton aiming to change that, and he's away first so far. Hamilton, Vettel, Alonso and Button are through.
You always get a bit of Alonso pressure on the track, but did you expect it in the pit lane?
Because he needs this time now. Later
on, he's just ahead there of Alonso. They're almost coming together. Look at that, Hamilton through there, Martin. He's come through and he judged that perfectly, did Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton sided up. Is he going for the move? He's got the inside line at the moment of this first corner and he's taken it. Lewis Hamilton back in the lead.
I think that the Lewis-Jenson relationship has been very good for Lewis.
And it's a McLaren 1-2 now, just as it was in Turkey.
I think it's been able to actually diffuse a little bit of the pressure on Lewis as the sole British driver within McLaren.
Formula One's back in North America and Lewis Hamilton wins again in Canada. Jenson Button makes it a 1-2 for McLaren. What a perfect day.
Woohoo! Yeah! We can do this. Thank you.
I think that, the admiration between the two of them in terms of their skills behind the wheel is apparent.
So after Canada, Lewis Hamilton was now top. His teammate was hot on his heels, with Mark Webber sitting third. However, he went even higher as F1 returned to Europe.
Oh no! Mark Webber's gone right up there. What an impact that was.
And whilst an uninjured Mark Webber was testament to the safety in Formula One, Sebastian Vettel's win was testament to the speed Red Bull were now boasting.
So often it's been gremlins on race day for Vettel, but here is the reminder that he is a championship contender.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about! That's what I'm talking about! Yippee!
However, despite the success on the track, the cracks were starting to show off it. Against a backdrop of perceived favouritism for Vettel, Red Bull made a big decision at the British Grand Prix. Sebastian's updated front nose broke in free practice. The team then took the bold step of removing Mark's version and giving it to his teammate.
It's difficult sometimes for all the people outside to really understand what's going on.
The only thing I regret about Silverstone was that we didn't manage to have a conversation about the front wing before going into the qualifying. You know, it was wrong, it was a mistake, we should have sat down with Mark and explained it.
When you've got two reasonably strong-willed drivers that want to achieve good things, you might have some tensions at time, and that's normal.
He's done it! Pole position for Sebastian Vettel, and it's 9 poles in 10 races for Red Bull.
It showed us very clearly that, there seemed to be a faction inside Red Bull team had a favouritism towards Vettel.
I know exactly what is going on, and some things were probably true, other things were not. But the most important thing is that you know for yourself what happened, and you accept it as well.
The lights go out and we move away. Webber makes a charge, but so too does Vettel. Look at the two wheel to wheel, and Webber's got into the lead.
Puncher, right wheel.
Oh, and Vettel's got off. He's rejoined, but Webber's streaking clear, and Vettel's way down the field, almost coming into contact there. He's having to take the escape road, but Webber's clear. What a start at Silverstone.
Oh, and he's up the inside as Vettel, he's barged his way through.
He's done it. Vettel is through then, up into 7th place. What a recovery, because he was at the back of the field. There is the checkered flag for Mark Webber. He was seething in qualifying yesterday, but he's successful on Sunday, and he's won at Silverstone.
Well done, Mark, you won the British Grand Prix, well done.
It's always difficult to go completely open slather with all of your feelings and how you really do feel.
Not bad for number 2 driver.
Do you think you'll manage to smile now?
Number 2 driver. Number 2 driver.
For the first time since Bahrain, Ferrari had a car equal to the Red Bull. Felipe Massa was leading, Fernando Alonso was second, Sebastian Vettel third. But Massa was lapping slower than a frustrated Alonso, and Vettel was closing in on him at nearly a second per lap. The quandary facing the Ferrari pit wall was this: allow Vettel to catch up and become a threat, or place Alonso ahead of Massa to be sure of the win. There was a decision to be made and a driver to inform.
Okay, so Fernando is faster than you. Can you confirm you understood that message?
Massa moved over 2 laps later.
I'm used to team orders in Formula One. It's obvious to me that a team who's spending £400 million a year running 2 Formula One cars, employing 2 drivers, will use them to the best effect of the team. Ferrari did it too early and in a crass way, and it upset the fans.
But team orders are illegal in F1 and have been ever since the same team, Ferrari, made Rubens Barrichello move over for Michael Schumacher in Austria in 2002. To be seen as being within the rules, Ferrari now had to try and convince everyone that Massa had acted voluntarily.
We didn't have team orders in the race.
Thank you very much. Team order is not a problem.
There are no team orders.
Felipe was a bit slower, and Vettel was catching up with the tires.
Show us the evidence. There were clear team orders.
So Fernando was faster than you?
Yeah, I think everybody saw, no?
That was probably the clearest team order I've ever seen.
It was good to finish this race in this condition, honestly.
But a driver's decision isn't normally followed by an apology.
Good lad, just stick with him now. Sorry.
I think it was too raw. I think to see something like that orchestrated in the most public way was distasteful, left a bad feeling amongst a lot of, not just the teams, the media and the general public.
The sports governing body, the FIA, found Ferrari guilty of breaking the ban on team orders, but limited their penalty to a fine. In their defence, Ferrari explained that they had to manage the order because they couldn't trust their drivers to race without colliding. Fernando had set his stall out as Ferrari's number 1 earlier on in the season with this ruthless overtake of Felipe Massa in the pit lane in China. Alonso was Ferrari's focus for the championship.
We always said everywhere that for Ferrari, the team is the most important thing.
and the drivers that are working in the team knows very well.
Great result, and very, very, very magnanimous. You won't have any idea what that word means, so I'll explain it to you later.
But the bottom line is Ferrari has to win, and in Germany, Ferrari had to win in that way.
Time would tell whether the extra 7 points for the win would be enough to hand Alonso the championship. But what did happen in Germany crushed Felipe Massa's spirit. He wouldn't be as fast again all season.
Fernando is faster than you. Can you confirm you understood that message?
It was a message he understood only too well.
It must be a wonderful feeling every morning when your eyelids open as a Red Bull driver, knowing just what a great racing car you have.
The Red Bull is just so fast.
The Red Bull's impossible to beat. That's just insane how fast they're going.
The Red Bull was unbeatable.
Today Red Bull were very, very quick.
Those guys, I don't know what the hell they're doing, but it's incredible.
Red Bull are absolutely leaving the others for dead.
Really, really impressive. Fastest in every session so far.
Cars like this, you don't get that too often in motorsport, and I'm sure they're enjoying it to the max.
Red Bull, quite frankly, have been stunning. And here comes Mark Webber, the winner of the Hungarian Grand Prix, and he now leads the World Championship.
This Red Bull is the class of the field. It's built on the strengths of the 2009 car, so I think that there's no question that it's the car of the season.
Mark Webber's victory in Hungary chalked up the 6th win of the season for the Red Bull RB6. The race would also see its 12th podium and 11th pole position. But it was a car that attracted controversy. Accusations of bending the rules came and went, but its speed was always there. And here's why the RB6 was the quickest car of 2010. Designer Adrian Newey was the first to channel exhaust gas through the diffuser, which added downforce. Other teams copied the idea throughout the season, but they were always one step behind. Newey also got the rest of the car's aerodynamics just right. Side pods, floor and rear wing, as well as good weight distribution, a low centre of gravity, and a drivable and fuel-efficient Renault engine. But arguably the most significant and most controversial part of the RB6 was the front wing.
When the regulations have required the lower edge of an end plate to be 85mm above the ground and they're touching the ground, then perhaps it's a little bit too far.
But the Red Bull front wing passed every test the FIA could devise. It was a better concept and it was developed more effectively throughout the year. The RB6 was truly car of the season.
I take it you're going my way?
Yeah.
It's quite nice that Spa is sort of signifying the run-in now to the end of the season. It's the sort of the perfect track to go to launch this race towards the title, isn't it?
Well, this must be one of the most exciting finishes to the season for years and years, and certainly that I can remember in recent times, because we've got 5 drivers up for it in 3 different cars. You wouldn't want to guess who's going to win it.
Welcome to Spa, the most respected circuit on Formula One's calendar. They're away! Hamilton, and look, coming to the way, he's jet forward, and Webber's had a shocking start. Hamilton into the lead straight away, Button ahead of him, Hamilton leading. This could be a chance for Jenson Button, and it is! Button is past, Vettel goes off onto the grass, it's now McLaren 1-2, extraordinary!
In second, minded my own business really. Sebastian was not going to come past on the inside because there was no room, there was grass, even though he did try.
Oh, there's a run there, Vettel has lost it there on Jenson Button, and that's gone! And 2 championship contenders are really in the wars!
I didn't understand what had happened at all. I don't know how he could have come into the side of the car, you know. It was a strange angle.
Jenson Button is out at the Belgian Grand Prix.
A massive blow. Yeah, it hurts quite a bit really. To go out of a race when you're in second and lose 18 points could have been even better. It's frustrating when it's not for a manoeuvre, but it's the way it is, and it cost me a lot of points this season, which could have made quite a big difference. But you get over it, you got to move on, and it's exactly what I did.
The car felt great, really did feel good. And every time the guys behind me picked up the pace, I was able to answer to it.
Okay, understood, Lewis. We don't want to jump too early in case the rain doesn't get any worse.
And then I had that wide moment. I mean, that was, I was literally on the edge of my seat.
See, Hamilton's gone off! Lewis Hamilton's gone off, it's gone wrong!
He's going to get back on, it's okay, and he'll still be in the lead.
Alonso has gone spinning. Another championship contender fails to score points. Lewis Hamilton has won at Spa. It's his first victory here at this famous circuit, and it's just what McLaren needed after Hungary.
Fantastic job, guys, this weekend. So happy. Woo!
Well, after Lewis set the pace in Spa, David, Eddie and I arrived in Italy for the next race at a rather gentler speed for a Grand Prix that is anything but slow.
Monza, baby!
And Alonso got nothing in Belgium 2 weeks ago. They need to get it right here at Monza. With the lights out, and away goes Alonso and Button together. Moves across there, but Button seems to have got the jump on the inside line, then he's in the lead.
Oh, he's been hit from behind, but I think he'll get away with that. It's Ferrari side by side, chaos going up behind, a piece of carbon fibre in the air.
They're wheel to wheel now, Alonso and Massa. This is what Ferrari want.
Isn't that Hamilton right behind them as well? He's had a great start. Look at him right in there with the Ferrari. He's got to be careful that Massa...
Oh, they're coming together there with Lewis Hamilton.
Broken steering arm.
Button is in the pits, which means that Ferrari are leading. Alonso is now coming through, and Jenson Button is wheel to wheel with him, and it looks like Alonso's got through.
When will Vettel come in then? Will it be the last lap? Good stop. Where's his teammate?
He's done it. He's done it. He started sixth, and he's looked set for fourth place. It's Forza Ferrari, Forza Fernando. He wins the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, and the championship challenge is back on.
Winning the Italian Grand Prix for a Ferrari Italian car in Italy is very special. A lot of passion for Ferrari in Italy, around the world as well, but in Italy especially. So it's one of the races that if you drive for Ferrari, you want to win.
Monza, of course, was an extra celebration for you because it took you back up to third in the Drivers' Championship. Did you ever feel that you weren't in the running for the championship?
No, never. I knew that one race can put you in the championship. But it's true that now with 5 races to go, if you have a bad race or if you have a retirement, it becomes more difficult because there will be only 4 to go. So we arrive in a point now that there is not reverse gear anymore. So it's just flat out. Whoever does a mistake is a problem.
Lights, 5 title contenders with 5 races to go, and Alonso surges clear. Vettel alongside. Alonso leads. Back comes Hamilton though, in the first corner. Hamilton third, Button fourth, Webber fifth. Trying through on the inside and coming through.
Oh, he's gone wide, he's got a little bit wide. Can he keep it together? Yes, he does. But has he got enough speed coming off the corner? He'll have to stay left. That's an important move for Mark Webber.
Oh, here comes Webber and Schumacher. They're wheel to wheel. He's done it here against Kobayashi, holding together now. He's managed to push the... Hamilton has stopped. For the second race running, Lewis Hamilton is out of the race before the finish, and it's no points in the championship. And as he rounds the final corner, Fernando Alonso, from pole to flag, has set the standard again.
And he was a man getting well used to the taste of champagne again. Despite Mark Webber still sitting top, Fernando was just 11 points back. However, Ferrari weren't so close in the constructors' battle, trailing by 64 points from Red Bull. However, some had no points at all.
The new teams continued on their season of discovery, having to do their testing on a race weekend. And it quickly became apparent that whilst Lotus and Virgin were able to update their cars, Hispania were being left behind when it came to speed and money. A revolving door of drivers meant that new cash came in, as some drivers went out.
We can't be too far away from HRT changing drivers during the race.
Formula One is a business. It always has been, it always will be. You know, things aren't always as simple and straightforward as one assumes or one thinks.
Formula One is in a very tough moment where budget that drivers can take into teams is very highly prioritized. You know, unless you have a budget like that ready to go, you're in a difficult situation.
Virgin had their own problems, having built a car with a fuel tank too small to finish a race.
Length, weight of the car and everything is all important. You know, we pushed the boundaries, we got it slightly wrong.
Once it was sorted, Timo Glock was able to show his talents in qualifying, regularly finishing the best of the new boys.
Timo Glock, fastest of the new teams.
Do you think the new teams have added anything to Formula One?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first of all, we added a couple of cars more to the grid, which makes it more exciting. It makes maybe a bit scary moments into races when the lap, the blue flag's coming up and we get lap.
Oh no! Mark Webber's gone right up there.
He was trying to slipstream the Lotus.
I think it makes the racing more interesting, and I think the new teams will be much better sorted out next year.
The battle between the three new teams provided an interesting sideshow throughout the season, and it was Lotus who was the strongest when it came to race finishes. They realised their 2010 dreams and secured that valuable 10th place in the Constructors' Championship.
The future is very, very bright for us. We wanted to secure 10th place, but we wanted to make sure that we were in position to be much better than that next year, and I think we've ticked every box.
And despite having no updates or driver consistency, Hispania finished ahead of Virgin.
And Virgin's struggles continued in Japan as Lucas Di Grassi crashed on the way to the grid.
2 Red Bulls, 1 and 2 at the start. Will they stay that way by the finish? We're underway in Suzuka. A move by Hamilton straight away, but Webber looks to have been caught by Kubica and straight off goes Petrov into the wall.
There's going to be contact as well. Massa was going across the grass. And what a mess he's made of that Force India.
And just as Lewis needed a strong finish, his car let him down.
It's only a matter of time now before Jenson Button is past Lewis Hamilton.
And Lewis lets him go. It'll hurt, but that's the only sensible thing to do.
Meanwhile, Sebastian Vettel tasted that winning feeling in his Red Bull once again.
And so Sebastian Vettel wins. Webber comes in second. Red Bull take a 1-2. They are a force that may well leave the rest trailing.
And at this point they were. Another 1-2 finish for Red Bull. They were the team to beat.
As the season continued, so did Michael Schumacher's troubles.
He's trying to on the inside. Schumacher's almost put him in the wall. Schumacher almost put him in the wall there.
2 fourth places in Turkey and Korea were his highlights, but what kept people talking were the low points.
So not really a masterclass by Michael Schumacher.
Much tougher than I expected it to be. I remember well in December, just before Christmas, getting into the factory and signing the contract, seeing the factory, seeing the development of the car and talking to the engineers. Knowing what has happened last year, Mercedes joining, me coming into the picture, there could have only been one subject and target, and that was the title.
I think Michael played a bad hand by saying, of course, I'm only coming back to win the title. It put too much pressure on him, and the young chargers of today just put so many manners on him earlier on in the season. He lost out in every wheel-to-wheel battle. It's been a bit sad how tough it's been for him. He had some nightmare races, of course, in Montreal and Singapore, where he really did look out of his depth. You have to treat the back end of Michael Schumacher's car like the back end of a donkey.
It hasn't worked out driving-wise as well as he would have hoped, and certainly this has probably been his most negative display relative to a teammate in his career.
But later in the season, I think we've seen some of the old Michael coming back, and I'm looking forward to him in 2011. Pirelli tyres, the new Mercedes car he'll have to drive. It's fine. Michael will be just fine.
South Korea was in for a treat, 5 drivers hunting the title as the country hosted its inaugural Grand Prix. We were made to wait for the action as the track was flooded by persistent rain, making the drivers' jobs almost impossible.
It's the worst condition I ever drove a car.
A race of attrition saw 3 different men leading the Drivers' Championship throughout.
Only 3 races to go. The championship is about to decide. Every race is important.
Lewis Hamilton was under pressure from his nemesis Fernando Alonso and made a critical error.
Hamilton went absolutely bull wide. Alonso goes through.
And after toiling in the rain and eventually coming home 12th, Jenson Button now needed a miracle to defend his driver's title.
Are you still in the race for this championship?
No, not really.
Mark Webber needed a strong finish, but he ended up in the mud with no points on the board.
Webber spinning round, Webber could have a crash. The championship leader is out of the race.
The closer you get to the end, you want to get the maximum you can from it, and you know, Korea was a big missed opportunity.
Vettel's just seen his teammate in the wall, and I think there'll be a smile on his face.
Sebastian Vettel was hunting another win, then suffered a familiar fate.
Something's wrong. That's Vettel in problem, and here comes Alonso. This is crucial. Vettel's got a problem, and Alonso's through.
You lead the race and you have to retire because the car breaks down. It's a difficult moment.
Fernando Alonso comes round the final corner. He was saying in the summer, I'm going to win the World Championship, and few would have believed him, and he now leads the championship with 2 races to go. It's getting better and better for Fernando Alonso.
Alonso is quite remarkable, declaring at Silverstone that he would win this championship.
He's just consistently been on the podium since July. That's made the difference for him.
So after Red Bull heartache, Fernando Alonso now led. He was trailing by 47 points after the British Grand Prix, but even then maintained he'd still be world champion. Nico Hülkenberg was the toast of the paddock after a stunning performance in a wet qualifying session gave him his very first pole position in Formula One.
Look at the time! Look at that! It's almost a second quicker! Nico Hülkenberg, job on the line at Williams, but a job well done today in qualifying.
But it wasn't enough to stop him leaving Williams at the end of the year. Jenson Button, the victim of an attempted armed attack on the Saturday night, put that behind him to drive an impressive race. However, it still wasn't enough to keep him in the hunt for the title.
Jenson drops out of the title hunt though.
Sebastian Vettel made up for his Korean despair with a win that also helped Red Bull finally clinch that well-deserved Constructors' title.
Sebastian Vettel wins in 2010. Red Bull, the Constructors' champions for the first time.
And so with 1 race to go, Fernando Alonso had an 8-point lead over Mark Webber. Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton were just clinging on to their coattails. Jenson Button was now out of the race. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull finally had the title they wanted. They had to wait until the penultimate race of 2010 to finally clinch the title.
I had some dreams in the week before, after Brazil and so on, because we still had, the belief in us. It was difficult to be patient and do the normal preparation.
As Formula One arrived in Abu Dhabi for the last race of 2010, it did so with 4 men involved in the greatest title struggle ever.
4 drivers still in with a chance of winning is very unusual.
I think all of us had key points where it probably slipped or, the tide turned.
That was one of his worst qualifying sessions, Mark Webber, when he needed it to be one of his best.
We had periods where, we got treated like a hero, and then other times where it was a little bit more rough for us. The atmosphere in the paddock, everyone was extremely pumped and excited, so it was difficult to be patient, wait and do the normal preparation.
I can't recall at any other season having as many contenders for a championship.
I feel confident now. This weekend is time to do it.
The others are the ones that have to worry. I don't have to be cautious whatsoever.
I believe in myself.
I think it's time that we have a decider.
You are tensed, you're nervous. In the end, I just said to myself, try to win that race, and everything that comes on top is a bonus.
We've ended up with this incredibly intense series.
When we went into the race, obviously I started from pole. I had the best position to start from. The aim was always to become world champion one day.
Who will be champion today as we leave the grid at Abu Dhabi? Vettel moves forward. Alonso comes through, Button's got the jump. Alonso down into 4th, and Webber is 5th behind him.
I was very proud to be part of the race in Abu Dhabi, part of the 4 guys who can still win the championship.
Down into the turn 5, and we've got 2 Mercedes side by side, and they make contact. Michael Schumacher round. Will he?
Oh, the big smash there. It's Lewis. He's gone straight into him as well. What a dramatic start. It's Webber. He's coming in early. He tried this early in the season and it worked in Hungary, and he's away, and that was well done. Seemed to be no major problems there.
But the problem he's got is he's way back, isn't he?
I didn't know where the others were, so I didn't know whether winning is enough or not.
Here comes Alonso. Oh, he's almost got into the wall there.
You know, no matter what, Fernando was leading the championship before the race. So we knew that, first of all, we have to finish, and secondly, we get more points than him.
And here comes Alonso going through the inside of Petro, but he's gone off the track. He cannot gain position though. Alonso there, a little mistake.
Hamilton pits.
So Hamilton the first to blink of those near the front of Vettel and Button.
So he was 1.8 behind. Vettel's going to need a good pit stop to stay ahead.
Very exciting for all the people watching and all the spectators.
Surely Red Bull will now respond. They did the right thing, leaving Vettel out.
Of course, if you have highlights and you win races, it's nice and you enjoy.
So Vettel comes in.
But people try to knock you down, and you have bad results, and you have to stand back up.
Vettel retains the lead and critically ahead of that Sauber that they were trying to
he
monitor.
almost came together there. He's got to watch out though.
That could have been a world championship making a pit stop.
A round of applause there from Horner.
I think, you know, in terms of mindset, we had the exact right approach.
Come on, Sebastian, give it everything you got. Come on.
Of course, you are tensed, you're nervous, and you have this special nervousness going on.
Sebastian Vettel flies down the pit straight, and is he heading now towards the World Championship? Mark Webber down in 8th, stuck behind Alonso. He started there and he's going to finish there. And how he'd love to finish where this man is heading now.
In 1976, James Hunt had actually the same story, because he never led the championship until the last race, where he turned it around and he won the championship.
The order came from Dietrich Mateschitz. It needs to be better this year. We want the championship. Well, they got the constructors in Brazil, and now Sebastian Vettel wins in Abu Dhabi to be drivers' champion for 2010. It's a double for Red Bull.
Oh, thank you, boys. Unbelievable. Thank you, I love you. Unbelievable.
Since I crossed the line, it has been, quite a journey so far. Obviously, it was extremely difficult to realize, and it still is, what happened, but I'm very proud of that and proud of what I have achieved, but it's also a little bit weird and strange because you don't know how to handle that.
I'm speechless, you know. I think it will still take some time to realize. I mean, I didn't know where the others are. I knew that I was leading because I saw P1 on the pit board, and obviously, you know, when you start the race, you know where you are. It's just so difficult for me to put this in words, you know.
Sebastian is a very, very deserving world champion. He's done a fantastic job this year. He's had some bad luck, but he's never lost his focus. He's never lost his drive and determination.
Now it doesn't get easier. Everyone is hunting us next year, so I will be very proud to have the #1 on the car next year.
When I'm tired and thinking cold, I hide in my music, forget the day, and dream of a girl I used to know. I close my eyes and she slipped away. It's all I'm feeling, all I'm feeling. In the darkness, all I'm feeling. I'm thinking, dreaming, all I'm feeling. Take my hand, walk
Sebastian Vettel, you are the world champion! Oh, thank you, boys. Unbelievable. Thank you, I love you.
And this is how 2010 finished. Sebastian Vettel, the sport's youngest ever world champion, winning by just 4 points from Fernando Alonso. Mark Webber finished third, with Lewis Hamilton just 2 points further back. And Red Bull were the constructors' champions. McLaren held on to second, and Williams just pipped Force India to 6th place by 1 point.
One of the greatest Formula One years of all time.
The best season in Formula One for many a year.
It has been so exciting, full of incidents.
There is a star that lights the road. Will it take me to the end? Well, I don't know. But for one last time, I'll take this ride. And just drive. I wanna be the only one to make it to the light. I'll take it to the edge and ride, die 1,000 times. And maybe I could be the one right into the setting sun tonight. Just drive. Breathing out or breathing in. Broken down, but I will live to fight again for one last time. I take this ride and just drive. I wanna be the only one to make it to the light. I'll take it to the edge and ride, die 1,000 times. And maybe I could be the one right into the setting sun tonight. Just There is a star that lights the road. Will it take me to the end? Well, I don't know.